Shocking. That was, hey, I gotta hand it to you all. That was some good raps all around. Definitely better than what I could do. No doubt about that. It's very, no, I'm not doing it, no. I would embarrass myself more than I already have. Good morning, right? I woke up. I was feeling pretty dedicated, right? I was feeling prepared to get what God's plan for me, right? Ready to persevere through, anything He needs me to persevere through, and which is actually what our topic is on: perseverance. All right. Switch mics real quick. So we're coming from the book of Joshua today. You know what? The title for this sermon, I completely copyrighted it off someone, all right? So you can ask my English teacher, but I think that if I give him credit, it's not plagiarism. And I want to double check with mistakes about that. But it's called Don't Stop on 6. This preacher was named Stephen Furtick. He's only second to our very own TJ class. And so we're starting from Joshua 6:6. All right. So Joshua, son of Nun, called the priests and said to them, "Take up the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and have 7 priests carry trumpets in front of it." And he ordered the army, "Advance, march around the city with an armed guard going ahead of the ark of the Lord." I have a video on the book of Joshua, and I would like for them to play it if you got it.
At Jericho, Israel is to take a completely passive approach. So they let God's presence in the ark lead them around the city to music for 6 days. And just like Rahab turned to the God of Israel, maybe the people of Jericho would do the same, but they don't. And so on the 7th day, the priests blow the trumpets and the walls come falling down, leading Israel to victory. The point of the story is that God is the one who will deliver his people. Israel simply needs to trust and wait.
All right, so, we're in the book of Jericho, not the book of Jericho, the book of Joshua, the battle of Jericho, right? And so, as I read in verse 6 and 7, they're starting to march around Jericho, right? They just got those instructions. Go to verse 11. So he had the ark of the Lord carried around the city, circling it once. Then the army returned to camp and spent the night there. All right, so guys, imagine you are a soldier in the army of the Lord, right? You're an Israelite soldier, and you marched around the city once, and you go home. So you get home, right? You sit down, right? And your wife, I don't know this from experience, because thankfully I'm not married yet. But from what I have witnessed from a married couple that I watch and have watched for the past 16 years every day of my life.
Also known as his parents.
No, I don't have parents. I'm Batman. So, right, you come home and you sit down and your wife goes, "Hey, honey, how was your day?" And guys, future reference, when your wife asks you how your day went, you are expected to give every detail and everything you thought about every detail. And then, after you do that for like 10 minutes, you have to listen to her tell you about her day for the next hour and a half. Right?
Preach.
I take a long time. Just for most of the time, my experience. Right? So you tell them, "Oh yeah, it was fun. We walked around the city, with trumpets and Ark of the Covenant. Oh, you were looking for weaknesses in the wall, right? Yeah, that's what we're doing. Maybe a little intimidation, right? Giving our our symbol of power, right? Go to verse 14. So on the 2nd day, they marched around the city once and returned to the camp. They did this for 6 days, right? Imagine the first day was Monday, right? Beginning of the week, beginning of everything that's going on. All right, and you walk around the city Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all the way up to Saturday, right? And now you're starting to get a little worried. You're starting to think that Joshua does not know what he's doing, right? If you were, let's say, it's about, Jericho is probably about as big as the mall area. If I told you to walk around the mall area for 6 days, how many of you would still be here on the 6th day? You. Thank you to my loyal fans. Appreciate you. But I would imagine as they were feeling a little worried. Go to verse 15, right? On the 7th day, they got up at daybreak and marched on the city 7 times in the same manner, except that on that day they circled the city 7 times. So the first 6 days you only circled it once, so you have a total of 6 laps. You're more than doubling your days now, your laps now in a day than you did the past 6 days. So we're doing it 7 times. Verse 16, the 7th time around, when the priests sounded the trumpet blast, Joshua commanded the army, shout, for the Lord has given you the city. Thank you for catching on. I thought I'd have to repeat that command. Right? And then in verse 20, when the trumpet sounded, the army shouted, and at the sound of the trumpet, when the men gave a loud shout, the wall collapsed. So everyone charged in, and they took the city. Now, as some of you might know, I am a very committed and passionate golfer, right? And what used to impress me 3-4 years ago when I was about the age of you 6th graders, we're 6th graders right there, all right, here today. All right, we got a few, good. I was about your age, and what impressed me then does not impress me now. What used to impress me when I was your age, 6th graders, was having the faith to start something. If someone came to me, it's like, hey, I'm starting a business. I'm buying a stock, which, believe it or not, there was one kid in my grade in 6th grade who was buying stocks. Or, I don't know, something like that, right? I'm going to start working out 4 days a week. And I would be impressed they had the faith, the courage to do something like that. As I said before, it doesn't have that same impression on me. So now, it's more impressive to have the fortitude to finish than the faith to start something. More impressive to have the fortitude to finish. All right? And so there is this gap, right, between you and God's plan for you. So how do we close that gap so that we can get from here to there being God's plan? And that's only one word. That's one big word to cover this gap. Perseverance. Right? Perseverance is a link between you and God's plan. And there are people in this room that have unfulfilled promises to God, and to both God and to themselves. And there are a few things that stop people from fulfilling their promises to God. One of them, your perspective could be blocked. Right? You could be marching around the walls, but nothing is happening. You could be practicing whatever your passion is, whether that be sports or academics or whatever you might want to do. But you don't see any progress, right? You don't see anything happening. And so how do you act when life isn't matching up to God's promise, right? By our simple logical means. What if it's not adding up? How do we act in that? And to win, you have to do crazy things. Imagine you are inside the walls of Jericho. You are a Jerichoan, which I'm not sure that's what they call themselves. Right? And you're looking outside, and you're seeing the Israelites march with the Ark of the Covenant, trumpets blazing, not saying a word, no cheers. You must be thinking, what? What are they doing? Right? That just must have looked crazy, probably getting on their Insta Snap, right? You know? It's like, crazy Israelites, hashtag insane. Hashtag little sister light.
No, you did not.
Yes, I did. Right. And so they did not see the walls fall. If I was God, I would have had every lap the walls might shake a little bit, or a stone might come down to inspire, right? To inspire the Israelites to keep going. But that's not what happened. That wall didn't move a little bit until they shouted on the seventh day, right? And they had to work by faith and not by sight to do that, right? And will you still pray if you can't see anything happening or nothing is happening, right? Think about prayer like this. So if prayer was this thing that as soon as we prayed, we got what we wanted, right? Like if I was saying, dear God, please let these kids listen to what I'm saying. Or, hey God, give me a girlfriend that will be loyal to me, that won't cheat on me, will love me. And a girl just came in right through those doors, walked on stage, and she gave me a nice little kiss right here. Right? I would be praying forever. I would take this phone, and I'll chuck it. Now, I'm not going to do that because it's an expensive phone, and I'm not getting another one if I break it. Right? But wouldn't you be praying, too, if stuff like that happened? I'd be walking into telephone poles and people praying. So what do you do if you can't see stuff happening? You got to keep going, even if nothing is happening. All right? Can you imagine how many prayers of TJ that Tia makes up? Tia, how many prayers do you think TJ had to pray to get you?
Quite a bit.
Quite a bit, right? That's a lot of prayers. That's a lot of heartfelt prayers over the years. And maybe you can't see what's happening. Maybe you can't see the walls shake. Because God needs you more focused on obedience, less on the outcome. Obedience is your responsibility. The outcome is His. If you are obedient to Him, then He will give you the outcome, a good outcome. I work out, right? And I have this trainer. His name is Jax. And we'll do some timed workouts sometimes, and when we do it, he really makes me mad because he doesn't tell me how much longer I have left. You would think the least he could do is go, halfway there, Luke. You're almost there. 10 more seconds. 5, 4, right? But no, so I'll get down on a plank, right? And he'll grab this 55-pound weight and he'll put it on my lower back right here, about towards my butt. And I know butt, right? And I'll be like that for 30, 40 seconds. And he makes me sit in a way where I can't look at the clock. And so I can't look up at the clock and see how much time I have left. And it frustrates me. But life doesn't tell us how much longer we have left. When they were circling the walls of Jericho, they didn't hear a big voice out. Hey, you're halfway there. Wednesday, halfway there. You're almost there. That didn't happen. They didn't hear that. They had nothing. And what people don't realize is that when they quit, when most people quit, they're almost there. They are on that 6th lap and they stop and they never realize it. They were this close to achieving God's plan for them and they stop. They quit. They never realize it. We need to walk the laps and persevere through the hardships so that when we get there, we know who brought us there. If the Israelites, right, they just showed up at Jericho, the walls miraculously came down, they took in the church of the city, took it, right, on day 1, on Monday. They would have thought it was because that they were so good, that they were the group, they were the people, that no one was better than them, and they wouldn't have given God the credit that God deserves, right? But because they had to walk the laps, they realized it was God who brought them through that. And maybe, because, right, we already know he has plans prepared for us. We know that in Jeremiah, right, it's to give us a hope, right, for a future. And maybe we haven't gotten there yet. We haven't gotten plan He has prepared for us, because He has to prepare us for what He has prepared for us. You gotta act, and when you're walking the laps, act like every lap is your last one, because one day you will be right. When I'm hitting golf balls, right, I have to think, this is the last swing, and I'm going to be great. Last hour, one more hole, and I've got it. And I'm going to be wrong a lot. You middle schooler, when I was in middle school, and the class was out, we were done with class early, and then we got out at 3:20. And it'd be 3:19, and people would be looking at the clock, trying to count down, and they're trying to get to 0 when the clock changes. After a while, I stopped going 5, right? I just started going 1. I thought every second was going to be the last second. And I was wrong a lot. My friend was like, dude, what are you doing? But one day, I was right. If you think everyone is your last one, you will be right one day. And the big idea I want you guys to come away with is perseverance, is by my definition. Perseverance is pushing through pain and suffering through everlasting faith to fulfill God's plan for you. Faith is the foundation for everything. No matter who you are, your beliefs, you have faith in little things. And if without that faith, you would not do it. You all have faith that these chairs won't break down, correct? Or the floor won't fall through you, Tia and Maddie. Right? You have faith in the floor. And Joshua and the Israelites only got through the lap because they had the faith that God was going to hand them the victory. Now, I know I've said a lot of stuff, but if there was one thing that you guys can take away from this entire thing, is this. You gotta take the extra lap. God's plan for you is just around the corner. It's right there. You are on the cusp. You're almost there. Just keep walking the laps. You're just around the corner. I'm done. All right, so we got small groups now, right? So divide into 2 or 3 people. If we can have one volunteer for at least one volunteer for each group. So if it's 2 volunteers for one group, that's fine.
Jimmy,